Healing with Human Connection, where we have encouraging conversations about tough topics such as substance abuse, drug addiction, and mental health issues for those in the Northwest Indiana area. Our hope is to share information that will guide you to resources that can help you change your life so that you can live the life you were meant to live. Check out our website, www.healingwithconnection.com, to find a full transcript of today's conversation, along with a list of any resources or links mentioned in this episode. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are the podcast. Welcome to Healing with Human Connections. I'm Jeanne Ann. I'm a therapist and life coach, dealing really mostly with relationships, couples counseling, and life transitions. I see people in person and online, and we have Miss Lisa Scheller, who is my podcast partner. She is a life and health coach specializing in individual and family coaching, and she and her husband have actually written a book, Miss Lisa.
Yes, we've co-authored a book.
Co-hosted.
Yeah, and it's called From Fear to Faith, A Family's Journey with Addiction, Recovery, and Grace. It came out in July, and since July, we have had the opportunity to meet several people who say to us, thank you for writing your book and telling your story so that we can lift the stigma of addiction, and that we know that substance abuse, mental health knows no social economic status, so it can be happening to anybody. It's a generational, disease, as well as not just the addict with the disease, but the family as a disease as well. So it affects everyone. So if you're interested, we'll have the information on here in regards to if you're purchasing the book or you want to connect with us in regards to it. But some Fear to Faith.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And of course, Mike Kilbourne. We're so excited. I've known Mike professionally for a lot of years. I work with Doombrook, and Mike has been doing great work here in our community that he's going to talk about. So Mike, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you are so welcome. Thank you for the work you do. It is God's work, really. If you could tell us a little bit about the PATH program and Swanson Center, Mike,
Yes.
and then tell us the good stuff about you personally and your path.
Well, the PATH program at Swanson Center is, PATH stands for Programs for the Assistance and Transition Out of Homelessness. And we do street outreach. Myself and my partner, Kareen, we do street outreach for the entire county of LaPorte. So some days we'll be in the city of LaPorte. A lot of days we're in Michigan City. Sometimes we will go down to the outer stretches of the county to meet people who are homeless. And we find all types of people in all types of backgrounds and all types of housing situations. People staying in trailers with no heat, no electricity, people staying in tents in the woods, living in doorways. It can be a challenging job because you have to take that first of 20,000 steps to help somebody get back into the community and then back into housing. And so we do case management. We don't have a cookie cutter approach. We try to do just about anything we can to assist people. Often that's referrals for community mental health, substance abuse services, housing. We work with many different agencies in the community, including Keys to Hope, Interfaith Pads, Emergency Shelter, all the programs of of Citizens Concern for the Homeless. That includes Keys to Hope, Grace Learning Center,
Jim Musio,
Sandcastle Shelter. Yep. We work with Jim, and it's a great partnership. And we work with Center Township Trustee and Lisa Perzakowski.
She's the best.
She is amazing. And the Salvation Army, Major Becky, they do so much for the community, and they do so much under the radar to help people. And I see it, we're there twice a week, and I see it all the time, just how involved Major Becky is and her husband, Major Dale, in assisting people with food, with clothing, and other resources. And I often get calls from the Salvation Army to come in and meet the people when they arrive, kind of at the end of their rope with nowhere to go. And don't have a clue as to what the next right thing is.
Right.
And so, so that's, in a nutshell, that's what PATH is. Some weeks it's rapid fire and it's busy, and we just do our best to help people.
Right. So the average person, Mike, listening, I would think doesn't have a clue of how big this problem is. So many people who don't have housing, who are everything you just described, really in serious need of shelter and many other things. And can you tell us a little bit about the point in time?
Yes. Well, on the 25th, we went out at 2 in the morning. We met our team at Walmart at 2 in the morning.
And this happens yearly.
Happens every year. It's called the point in time count. The numbers go back to the state to define how much funding we will get as a community to assist people. We found, on this cold, snowy night, we found 13 people outdoors, in tents, in the woods, in their cars. I think there was at least one person walking the streets. And
people hide in dumpsters.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember I did it once years ago, and it's amazing where you find people.
Yes. And you would think that you wouldn't necessarily see this many people outdoors when we have a shelter system, when we have different resources. But last year, when we did the point in time count, and it was 30 below with the wind chill, we found 17 people. So is
it that those people, Mike, who are in need don't know of the services, or they choose not to, or a combination?
It's a combination, but most of the people know of the services and choose not to, because there are certain rules and restrictions, and it's not for everyone.
Right.
And
the shelters.
The shelters,
right.
Yes. But the fortunate thing is we have a carte blanche to go ahead and work with those folks who are out on the streets. I'm working on housing vouchers for a number of people who are not in the shelter but staying outdoors and in places that are deemed uninhabitable.
Right.
So that's a blessing, kind of a blessing in disguise, that we can work with folks and assist them with housing even though they're not in the shelter.
Right.
So
that's, Mike, I mean, it's just what you said, that it's not a cookie cutter. Every case is unique.
It's unique,
and has different needs. But you've been doing this so long that you know about the resources and you can get them help.
Right. It's interesting. I was the program coordinator, or the program director at Keys to Hope for about 2 years.
That's right.
And that was my previous social service job before coming to Swanson Center. And 10 years before that, I worked at a community mental health in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I was a PATH street outreach worker there. So I'm no stranger to the PATH program. It's just such a great program, hosted through SAMHSA, through HUD, and a lot of communities around in the state of Indiana have PATH programs, and we're just fortunate to have one here.
And that's some government funding, right, Mike?
Some government funding,
that
some
helps.
Right, state funding as well.
Right. So how would you describe, or for someone listening, if they are concerned about someone, maybe they know someone's in a situation where the housing is really difficult, or they don't know where they are, how do you help the person? Like, what, to get them housing, I'm sure it's very complicated. It's emotional, it's physical, it's financial.
It is complicated.
Generally speaking, Mike, what do you do?
We start off with an intake. It takes about 10 minutes. It's a 7-page form, and that intake allows us to work with the people. PATH can work with people who are homeless and have serious mental illness, but we don't stop there. If somebody is in need and we see a way we can help them, even if we can't enroll them as a PATH recipient, we'll still enroll them at a alternate level of our program, so we can still assist them with referrals and help guide them to where they need to go. Some of the people I'm working on a housing voucher for aren't PATH eligible, and so, but we still want to help them.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a matter of community connections with the first step. If somebody is facing an eviction and they have to be out of the apartment within 14 days.
Which is happening a lot, right? With the inflation and...
A lot.
Oh my gosh.
A lot. And that's another topic, is the lack of safe, affordable housing. And rents are rising. Myself and my partner Kareem are looking for apartments, and all we're finding is that the places that were $750 last month for a 1-bedroom plus utilities have gone up to $875.
Oh, right.
And things like that.
Right.
And
that's the reality of...
And the reality is people are getting priced out of affordable housing, and Michigan City is no different than anywhere else. It has problems. We need more services for addiction, although Swanson Center covers things pretty intently. The problems in Michigan City are, no worse than anywhere else, but we're seeing, it almost feels like gentrification is rising, pushing up the housing market. And as
wealthier as the community gets,
the wealthier the community,
that's a problem.
the higher the cost of living.
Right.
And so we're frustrated from day to day.
Sure.
But we wake up every day and keep doing it.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful.
And yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about your history and what gave
Certainly.
you the passion?
Well, I was homeless for about 26 years.
Wow.
From the time I was about 3 or 4 years old. My father came home from work one day. We were living in Las Vegas, and my mother had the fire department over to the house. We had a condominium in North Las Vegas, and she had reported space aliens in the attic, and they were actually in the attic looking around, the firefighters. And so my mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and that was about 1978. At the time, we didn't really have these more stellar medications that came out around the late 80s, 1989, 1990. So all we really had were Thorazine and Cogentin to ward off Parkinson's disease from taking the Thorazine.
Right.
And a doctor told my father, his name was Dr. Greenwood, I don't know why I remember that, but he told my father that his wife would probably be in a mental institution for the rest of her life.
Oh.
So we loaded up the green 1973 Buick LeSabre.
A beauty.
Yeah, it had a dent in the front. He got a good deal on it because it had a dent in the front. And he took her out on a pass, and we took to the highways. And my father, somewhere along the way, along his path in life, he learned to be very charming and very believable. And so he was a con man, and he would go to churches and fraternal organizations and police departments that were in charge of ministerial alliance funds in the Midwest. We were in everywhere in the United States, including Alaska, but not Hawaii because there were no roads that went there.
Right.
And I kind of grew up on the highway that way. Every town was a different motel, a different tank of gas. And so I was moved from town to town. I didn't start my education till later in life for that reason. And but that finally came to an end about 2003.
Oh, thank goodness.
And I was able to kind of pursue the life. At 28 years old, I was able to pursue the life I wanted, which had nothing to do with that.
Right. So you know, in other words, Mike, you know what it feels like. You've been there, done that.
Yes.
All the complications that come with trying to bring yourself up.
All of it. And when I wanted to bring myself up, when I wanted to live a life with fidelity, it became, that was where the challenge became the hardest.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it myself.
Right.
So I had some really great people there to help me.
Well, that's what Lisa talks about a lot, about not doing it ourselves with any
And there's a
issues
village
we
that
have.
somewhere along the line people step in and help, because you know I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, when I grew up, it was like, well, you keep your secrets to yourself. This is the way we do life. You don't know that other people have a different way of doing life. And then when you become an adult, you're like, well, we should be able to handle this. We should be able to take care of it. But you know, when it gets to the point where someone gets very sick or something like that, and you're going to need that help, the only way out is to just come to surrender it and just be able to get. And then people along the way stepped in and were able to help us share their story, whatever it was. And
It's very true. And when I finally got out of homelessness, I got involved in community organizing for affordable housing issues. And everybody else in the organization was currently at the time.
Somewhere
That's
along
not
the line.
that's not a sentence, but everybody else in the organization had been homeless, or they were homeless at the time.
Sure.
And so
They understood.
we were the Kalamazoo Homeless Action Network, and it was a union of folks who were homeless.
Gosh, Mike, that's wonderful.
And I did that for a while, and then afterwards I worked for a day center in Kalamazoo called Ministry with Community, and that was a very great place. They let anybody come in and work with people on an individual level.
Yeah.
And my journey just kind of started from there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, there's much strength inside of you to manage all of that and navigate that world, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do today in our world and our community. It's so needed, and it's such a big problem that I don't think a lot of people understand. So again, if someone is listening, Mike, what advice, either to them or someone they love, or they might be getting thrown out of their apartment because they can't afford it, how would they contact you, or what do you recommend?
Call me at Swanson Center, area code 219-879-4621, and ask for Michael Kilbourne, and they will put the call through to me.
Great.
And it'll ring on my cell phone, even if I'm not there.
Yay, good.
These smartphones are so much smarter than I am.
yeah, that's what we were just doing before the show.
Swanson Center has child and adolescent therapy, substance abuse counseling, individual outpatient therapy, detox referrals. There's a really great program called Detox Now, run by a lady named Linda Rowe. And she is just amazing and can refer people to detox programs. We can assist with housing to the best of our ability. To get into Swanson Center, they have open access. If there's a mental health need, if you're feeling like it's really time, you can go in on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, 9 to 4 p.m. I would get there as close to 9 as possible so you don't have to wait. But if everybody is listening and goes at the same time, I can't guarantee it.
Yeah, right.
So that's... And that, in a nutshell, I'll say that number again, 219-879-4621. Ask for Mike Kilbourne.
Great.
And I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Mike,
Doing such great work over there at the Swanson Center. You know, it's just another tool for people who are in a situation, mental health and or substance abuse or homeless, because the people that are homeless have those, you know, obviously issues. So how can you get them off the street to get them the help that they need? So great work over there at the Swanson Center.
I'm really fortunate because I work at a funeral home part-time, and that's a really supportive place, Guys in Carlisle. And at Swanson Center, Swanson Center is so much more supportive than I could have imagined.
Oh.
So just to work there is an honor, and to serve there is an honor, and they really have my back, and I'm really grateful for that.
Well,
That's wonderful news, yeah.
Mike. And they're honored to have you work there. I've been in meetings with Mike, and he's just true blue and really sincere and so passionate about what you do. So again, thank you. And again, for anyone listening, Swanson Center is the umbrella organization. Michael Kilbourne works for PATH, which is a part of Swanson Center. So you can reach him if you forget everything. Just remember Swanson Center, PATH, Michael Kilbourne.
Yes.
So Mike, thanks again. Anything else you'd like to mention, Miss Lisa?
I don't think so, but I just really appreciate our community members coming on and talking about this, because I think the more people know or are educated about it, they don't have to question where is it that they need to go to get help.
Right.
So, it's, and again, as Michael said, even though he's out doing this work in the community, give him a call. He might have a resource for you to go here, there, anywhere, because
Absolutely.
the first phone call, I believe, is the step in the right direction.
Great. And Mike, you know so many resources because you've been around so long, really. You know how to get help. So if you're listening and you have a loved one or you yourself need some assistance, please give Mike a call, or Lisa and myself. Be happy to help. And of course, what's behind all of this is the kindness in Michael's heart and Swanson Center and PATH. And what we always end our sessions with are, be kind to yourself. And that is the beginning of our world growing into a healthier, happier place for everyone. So Cassie, thank you again for behind the scenes technology, and we wish you all a very good week. Take care. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, let us know by leaving a comment or review and sharing with a friend. All resources mentioned today and a full transcript of this episode can be found by going to our website, www.healingwithconnection.com. A video of this recording can be found on our YouTube channel, and the audio podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts.